What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, look, I'm going to be honest with you, right? Yesterday, I showed you a bunch of new secret rares, or super rares, I should say, from OP06. And as I said, something like broken on the thumbnail, because they genuinely are brilliant. These weren't good cards, these were really, really good cards. And I think I kind of showed you that. You know, the Gecko Moria that can play 2 cards for free, one of which active and ready to go. The Vinsmoke Judge that can play 4 characters from your trash, which is ridiculous. The Hody Jones, which becomes the first green card that's ever had Rush, which is kind of very, very, very relevant. And the Kozuki Momonosuke that's a blocker who can put one of your Wano characters on your life. Really good cards. Really good cards. Well, I'm back. It's like a day later. And I'm sorry, but I'm also going to show you a bunch of new cards from OP06 in this video. And these cards also, I believe, could rightly be described as a little bit broken. And here's the thing, right? We're going to be talking about super rares mostly. But we're going to start with just a rare, just an Onami. It's not a super rare, it's just a rare. But oh my word, this is one of those cards. I've translated all these myself. And I read this card and I was like, oh, hang on a second. Have I mistranslated this? This seems a little bit too good. But no, I've not mistranslated it. It's just a little bit good. What we've got here is a 2-cost, 3,000 power, counter plus 1,000 yellow card. And we've got on play, give your leader or up to one of your characters Banish for the turn. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Remember, Banish is a skill whereby when you take one of your opponent's life, the life does not go to their hand as it usually would to give them card advantage, and it does not activate trigger as it usually would to give them other advantage. No, it just goes to the discard. Banish is a really, really, really good skill. It's one we don't see a huge amount of, just because we've not seen that many cards with Banish. Like, go and have a look on One Piece cardgame.dev. There's 13 cards with Banish. And actually, that's a little bit misleading, because if you take away the alternate arts, there's 11. And there are a couple of yellow, to be fair. We have got the Zeus, which gives Charlotte and Lin Banish, which is kind of cool. We've got the Charlotte Snack, which has Banish, but only if you add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand. So you basically got to give up a life to do it. And then we've got the Bellamy that was a promo, which just has Banish. So it's not the first... Oh, actually, and the Charlotte Moscato, which sees a bunch of play at the moment, which Don X1 gains Banish. So look, yeah, Banish is not new in yellow. And I'm not claiming for a second that it is new in yellow. What I am claiming is that Banish is a very, very, very good skill. And while we're here, can we talk about the Yamato leader from OP06? The new leader that's coming around looks pretty good. Has double attack. Well, now you can use this to give that leader with double attack Banish. And now your leader has double attack and Banish. That's very good. Like, really, genuinely very, very good. This is one to keep an eye on, quite frankly. Because, I mean, just giving... And there's more to it, Internet. There's more to the card. But just being a very cheap card, a 2-cost card, that can give any one of your characters or your leader Banish on play, that's cool. That's actually very, very good and very, very relevant. But we've also got a trigger here. Now, it's not a trigger that lets you play the card for free, which would actually be really good, because then if you play the card for free, you would then also be able to activate this skill when you did so, and that would be lovely, and it doesn't work. I'm sorry. However, what it does do is it lets you KO one of your opponent's 5-cost or lower rested characters. Which, incidentally, should sound a little bit familiar. It's literally the exact same trigger as Thunderbolt, which is a card that sees a bunch of play. You can also just trash a card from your life for Thunderbolt to do the same thing, obviously better as a trigger. So the point is, we've already seen this trigger is good. We know this trigger is good. Yellow decks generally tend to play Thunderbolt because this trigger is good. And we know Banish is good. A lot of yellow decks tend to play Charlotte Moscato because Banish is good. So now you can give Banish to any of your characters or your leader, yes, including the Yamato with double attack, which is clearly where I'm looking here. And you've got this phenomenal trigger as well, all on a 2-cost card. I mean, hopefully at this point you can see why I'm getting a little bit excited about this, why I'm suggesting this card might be a little bit broken, a little bit too good. And don't forget, we've literally just banned OP01 Nami. We have just banned OP01 Nami because, you know what? OP01 Nami's a little bit too good. Maybe we shouldn't have this. Maybe we need to get rid of it because too many people are using it too much and too effectively. And then, like, 2 days later, they're like, got it. Here's another ridiculously good Nami. Did you think we'd forgotten about Nami? And look, Nami's always going to be one of the best One Piece characters, one of the most popular One Piece characters. Nami's always going to have more cards than other characters, and the card designer is going to want to give Nami better cards a lot of the time because she's so popular. But oh my word, this seems like a very, very good card. Hey, you know what else seems like a very, very good card? This new Shanks. Yeah, Film Shanks is back. Yay! And this is a very straightforward card that is very good. 10 cost, 12,000 power, on play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 10,000 power or less. Oh. Cool. Yeah. This is a really good card. And don't get me wrong, right? It's a 10 cost. And that's a little bit of a problem because it means that you do have to kind of use all of your Don. Like, you literally have to use all of your Don. Every single one of your Don. Okay, fine. But you get anything here. Absolutely anything. And that's kind of my point here. That's why I love this card so much. And okay, fine, it doesn't actually bump anything. There are a few characters that will survive. But when I say there are a few characters that will survive, I mean there are a few characters that will survive. There are very, very few characters you won't be able to bump with this. There are so few characters, I can literally give you a full list. You ready? We've got the Luffy from Starter Deck 10 of 11,000 power, the Kaido from OP01 with 12, the Charlotte Lin from OP03 with 12, the Kaido from OP04 with 12, and the Kaido and Luffy from OP05 with 12. That's it. That's the list. That is every card you cannot KO with Shanks here on play. If the list is so small, I can literally reel it off in a couple of seconds because actually there's only 6 of them. Yeah. That should tell you everything you need to know about how powerful this card is. And that's what I love. There are 2 things about this card. This card has exactly 2 things. Number 1, it's really powerful. So once you get it out, it's sitting there as a 12,000 power character. Incidentally, you'll notice when I listed off the characters with more than 10k, there was an 11k Luffy, there was no 12k red. This is the most powerful red card we've seen so far. I know I kind of said that, but I didn't explicitly say that. So let me explicitly say it now. This is the most powerful red card we've seen. But also, you can get rid of basically anything. There are a couple of cards that will survive. And to be fair, most of the ones I've mentioned here, yes, do actually see a bunch of play. And once they're on the board, it is kind of annoying that they are going to sit there as 11 or 12,000 power characters that can kind of sit there and start smashing away. I understand that entirely, and I don't really care. Because you're getting so, obviously I care when I'm in the game, but you're getting so many characters here. There are so many different options for things that you can get here that, okay, fine, there's 1 or 2 that you can't get. You know what? I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to survive. I adore this card. It's not a fancy card. It's not a particularly impressive card in terms of, look how many different things it does, look at all the fancy plays I can make with this. It's not a card that took more than 2 seconds to translate. Very straightforward translation. What this card does have is huge amount of power, KOs almost anything. That's what it does, and it is great. But that's not all we've got. We've also got ourselves a new Perona. As a side note, for a while now, my favourite One Piece character, it's hard to pick a favourite One Piece character. There's many, many of them. Smoker has been one of my favourites up till now, but I'm going to be honest with you, I think Perona might be one of my favourite One Piece character. She keeps getting really interesting cards. The one from OPO1 was great. And the leader makes me very, very happy. And I showed this card to my 5-year-old daughter the other day, and she got very excited, spawning all of the, I have no idea what they're called. The little things, the white things, what are they actually called? Demons? Not demons. The things that make you really sad. Whatever they are, my daughter thinks they're adorable, which means I think they're adorable. And okay, fine, the Perona from Starter Deck 12 was a little bit disappointing, I grant you. Yeah. Perona's very cool, and I do actually like this new one very much indeed as well. What we've got here are a couple of skills, and you choose between one of them when you play. Oh, also 4 cost 5,000 power, counter plus 2,000, so instantly you've got counter plus 2,000, that's kind of awesome. But either you can make your opponent trash a card from their hand, which is actually pretty good. Especially, we know some decks do tend to play with low hand sizes. If you can catch your opponent with a 1-card hand and trash it, then put them on top deck mode, that's hilarious. Or give up to one of your opponent's characters -3 cost for the turn, which is a very standard black thing to do. Give your opponent -3 cost and then use all of the other black cards that take advantage of low cost. We've seen these all a million times before, but think of things like Kobe and Garp. They're ones we see a lot in black decks nowadays. Having Kobe and Garb, and basically what both of them do is rest to KO a character with low cost. Kobe, you just rest it to KO a character of a cost of 2 or less, and Garp, you actually have to trash a card from your hand as well as resting Garp, which is not ideal, but then you get to KO a character of a cost of 4 or less. That's the kind of thing we're going for here. It doesn't have to be a Navy package. There's plenty of other things that can play around with this. My point is, it's really good for that, and it's good for hand disruption. We don't see much hand disruption in One Piece. It's not something that is really coming around all the time here. So the fact that we even get a little bit here, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to make disruption decks and hand wrecking decks super viable and amazing. It's not. But I absolutely am going to sit here and tell you that it's a really nice handy bonus, and I'm a big fan. Go team! Don't think it's broken quite on the level of Onami or Shanks, but I do think it's a very, very good card. And I've made it pretty clear I'm going to be testing Perona when OPO6 comes out. So, hey, it's another Perona card to test. Sounds like fun to me. And then we can finish off with Shiraya? I don't know who this dude is. I'm pretty sure it's a film character. I'm pretty sure that's what it is here. Partly that's because I've read the manga but not seen all the films, and this is a character I don't recognise. And partly literally says film on the bottom of the card. That was a bit of a giveaway. What we've got is 3 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and we've got blocker. Ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill blocker. Not terribly exciting, but nice to have in your deck. And when attacking and blocking once per turn, this character's power becomes the same as your opponent's leader's power until the start of your next turn. And this is actually super duper interesting. Of course, one of the best uses for this would have been against Newgate, because Newgate naturally has 6,000 power if they haven't boosted it up, which would be awesome. But obviously, Newgate literally just got banned, so you're probably not going to be using it against Newgate very much now, are ya? But it still seems pretty gosh darn good, and it is when attacking or blocking, and then it actually becomes a much better blocker. Now, it is the same power as your opponent's leader, not your opponent's leader's base power. So if your opponent has attached a bunch of Dawn or used some skills to beef up their leader's power, and you block with this, you then become the power it actually is at that moment, not the power it initially was. They would say that on the card if that was the case. So potentially a very powerful blocker here, and if nothing else, you can play this to stop your opponent beefing up their leader, and that sounds kind of fun to me. Not my favourite card in this video, I'm going to be honest with you, but clearly some potential there as a very good free cost blocker, and I could absolutely see this seeing a whole bunch of play, because it's a free cost and can beef itself up to the power of your opponent's leader, which should be at minimum 5. Minimum 5. And remember, your ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill generic leader is 5,000 power. And your ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill generic character is free cost 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. So when you attack or block, you get to basically boost your power up potentially higher, while still having blocker on it as a normal vanilla card. This one could end up being a pretty big deal. I think Onami and Shanks are the real highlights of this video. For me, I love the Perona card, don't get me wrong, but Onami and Shanks look absolutely ridiculous. Get ready to see a bunch of them. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think. I want to know if you think these cards are as good as I do. I want to know if you're excited about the fact we've had 2 days in a row of really good card reveals here, or whether you think I'm being overly excited about new cards. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far, the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.